What if the biggest reason you're stuck isn't because you're failing, but because you've started believing that failure means something about who you are? Think about that. Every time something doesn't work out, every rejection, every mistake, every goal you didn't reach, a small voice appears and whispers, "Maybe I'm not good enough." And the dangerous part? The more you hear that voice, the more believable it becomes. But what if everything you've been taught about failure is wrong? What if failure isn't evidence that you're weak, but proof that you're trying to become someone stronger? Today, you're going to discover why the people who achieve extraordinary things aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who learn how to believe in themselves when failure shows up. And before this video ends, I'll tell you a story that completely changed how one struggling person viewed failure forever. A story that might change your life too. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may be exactly what you need right now. Most people believe confidence comes before success. They think, once I succeed, then I'll believe in myself. But reality works the opposite way. You have to believe in yourself before the results arrive. You have to trust yourself before the evidence exists. And that's where most people quit, not because they're incapable, not because they're untalented, but because they mistake temporary failure for permanent identity. Today we're going to break that pattern. Because failure is not your identity. It's an event, and events can change. Failure has a voice, and that voice lies. When you fail, it says, everyone else is ahead. It says, you missed your chance. It says, you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not disciplined enough. But failure never tells you the whole story. You see someone successful today. You see the finished product. You see the highlight reel. What you don't see are the hundreds of moments when they wanted to quit. The nights nobody applauded. The attempts nobody noticed. The mistakes nobody remembers. Success hides its failures. That's why people compare their beginning to someone else's ending. And that comparison destroys confidence. Here's the truth. Every master was once a beginner. Every winner was once struggling. Every expert was once embarrassed by how bad they were. The difference? They kept going. Not because they felt confident, because they kept moving despite not feeling confident. That's real courage. If a baby stopped trying to walk after falling 10 times, nobody would ever learn to walk. Yet adults do this with dreams every day. 1 failure, 2 failures, 3 failures. And suddenly, they decide they weren't meant for success. Does that make sense? Of course not. Keep that thought in mind, because it leads to something important. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you'll ever make is this. Failure is information, not condemnation. Every failure contains a lesson. Every setback contains data. Every disappointment contains feedback. But most people are too busy feeling defeated to look for it. Imagine an inventor building something revolutionary. The first attempt fails. The second fails. The 10th fails. The 100th fails. If they viewed every failure as proof they couldn't succeed, nothing would ever be invented. Instead, they ask, what did this teach me? That single question changes everything. Not, why am I so bad? But, what can I learn? Not, what's wrong with me? But, what's the next adjustment? Growth begins the moment self-judgment ends. And the moment you stop attacking yourself, you start improving yourself. In a few minutes, I'm going to share a story about a man who failed so many times that most people would have given up forever. Yet those failures became the foundation of everything he eventually achieved. And the lesson from his story might completely change how you see your own setbacks. But first, there's something you need to understand. Many people spend years searching for confidence. They're waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel certain, waiting to feel fearless. But confidence isn't found, it's built. You build confidence the same way you build muscle, by showing up consistently. You don't gain strength by thinking about lifting weights. You gain strength by lifting them. Likewise, you don't gain confidence by waiting. You gain confidence by acting, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain, even when failure feels possible, especially then. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes evidence. Evidence that you can trust yourself. Evidence that you can handle challenges. Evidence that you're stronger than your doubts. Confidence grows through action, not before action, after action. Remember that. A young man with a dream. He wanted success desperately, but life kept saying no. He faced rejection after rejection. Opportunities disappeared. Plans collapsed. People doubted him. At one point, he started doubting himself too. Every setback felt personal. Every failure felt permanent. And eventually, he reached a crossroads: quit or continue. Most people looking at his situation would have said, "It's over." But he made a different decision. He stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Everything changed. The failures didn't disappear, but his relationship with failure changed. Instead of seeing obstacles as stop signs, he started seeing them as training. Every setback became preparation. Every challenge became practice. Years later, people called him successful. They admired his confidence, his resilience, his achievements. What they didn't realize was that confidence wasn't the reason he succeeded. Confidence was the result of surviving failure without giving up. That's the secret. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself when circumstances get difficult. Here's a question. What if your current struggle isn't proof you're losing? What if it's proof you're growing? Think about that. Growth often feels uncomfortable. Strength often feels difficult. Progress often looks messy. Maybe the fact that you're struggling doesn't mean you're failing. Maybe it means you're becoming. One of the hardest things in life is believing before you see results. Anyone can believe after success arrives. Anyone can believe after the victory. Anyone can believe when everything is working. But real belief shows up when there's no evidence, when nobody else understands, when results are invisible, when progress feels slow. That's when belief matters most. And here's something powerful. You don't need to know exactly how you'll succeed. You only need enough belief to take the next step. Not the next 100 steps. Just the next one. Then another. Then another. That's how extraordinary lives are built. One step at a time. One decision at a time. One act of faith at a time. If you're failing right now, hear this carefully. Your story is not over. This chapter is not the entire book. This setback is not your identity. You are not defined by what didn't work. You are defined by what you do next. The dream still matters. The goal still matters. And most importantly, you still matter. Keep going. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing. Because one day you'll look back and realize the failures you hated most became the moments that made you strongest. If this message spoke to you, type, "I will keep going," in the comments below. Not for me, for yourself. Make it a promise. And if you know someone who's struggling with failure right now, share this video with them. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Believe in yourself. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Until next time, keep moving forward.